Hello.
There you
Figured it
go.
out.
There
Yay.
you go.
I was like,
I
what?
like.
I'm talking to her and she's not hearing me.
I'm like, nope. What was it?
I had to add you to, we had to add us into the little area, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
we were just in the waiting area.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, mm-mm.
Thank you for being patient with my technical abilities.
Oh, it's not an issue at all.
So today I have Lorea Sample here with me. We're going to talk about why she's glowing so much. Look at that.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
So we were in a program together, but we didn't really know each other until even less than a year ago. I can't believe it's
Mm-hmm.
been less than a year that we've known each other.
Mm-hmm.
And since last summer, we've worked together both privately. You've participated in the Pleasure Studio. You ventured to Aruba for Ultimate Possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you blossom into a beautiful version of yourself. Even so
Thank
much
you.
more. I mean, you were stunning already, but now, like, it's so much more. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Tell our viewers who you are, what you're passionate about, what's going on in your life these days.
Yeah. So, hey, everyone. My name is Lorea Sample of loreasample.com. That is always my spiel. And what I do is I work with women who are looking to be more confident in their everyday life, their everyday relationships, and how they just show up being more authentic and sacred through this principle that is the hallmark of my message, and that is self-reverence. And self-reverence is the uncompromising devotion to loving and being yourself. So I do that through programs, coaching sessions, and we'll be getting into it a little bit later on, maybe this year or next year, but live events as well.
Oh, awesome. And stick around
Mm-hmm.
to the end because Lorea, I know, has something she wants to tell you all about at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, try to share with us a little bit about where your life was and where you were before we started working together.
Where my life was. So, as Tiffany, as you mentioned before, we were in a mastermind together. Didn't really, I mean, of course, I saw her, we had retreats and stuff like that. So I saw her, but we didn't really connect until we were in a mutual program in which she was a guest, as she was a program expert. And she did she I feel like I'm talking to everybody else and not you, but I guess I am. Did a session on self pleasure, and I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that for this program that we were in, and I was like, okay, how does this connect, and how does it connect to your abundance and money? And I was intrigued. I was like, oh, like I've had access to Tiffany all this time, and this is the first time that I'm hearing all of what she does. And something that really touched me or hit a vein was my relationship to myself in relation to sex and self pleasure, like really seeing sex outside, well, self pleasure outside of just sex. Like it's so much more than that. And so I had already been doing some work because I was feeling a disconnection in my body. I was feeling the resistance to self pleasure, not really understanding why my energy, even in sales and marketing, things of that nature, wasn't really showing up in the way that converted people. I mean, let's just be honest. I'm in business to make money as well as transform lives. And so I wanted to explore that. And so I had a consultation with Tiffany, and that's when I decided to do the private coaching to really dig in deeper. And I was in a place at that time, sheesh, like body, issues as far as like how I saw my body. I know that I'm not fat or obese. According to my doctor, I'm obese, but you know,
Wow,
I
that
know I'm not. Yeah, that it's the whole height thing because I'm only 5'1" and all that foolishness. But anyway, this is the biggest that I've been in my life. And I've never really had issues with my body up until now. I'm 45. So then there's that whole hormonal thing that's going on too, going through just changes. And I really didn't know how to really move through accepting my body and loving my body as it is now, or at any stage and phase that it's in. So I had low confidence in just, in that. And so I was just very self-conscious, especially in my abdominal area. And so after going through, our 6 months of coaching again, the studio, which that was a treat. If you ever have the opportunity to sign up for the studio, you should. And also I think like the climax or the pinnacle climax, let's use climax. The climax for me was the retreat. That was a climax for me. That was like when I really just fully awakened to the beauty of my body and just the confidence that I had. It was like all the work we had done really started to come together, and I could not only know it, but I could feel it. And so that's what that glow is all about, because of the integration of all of the work that we've done. So yeah, I'm a different Lorea than I was well over 6 months ago.
yes, I remember I did a screenshot kind of comparison,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so interesting to see. Just you could see it in your energy. People feel our energy and they see
Mm-hmm.
it, and it was so vibrant. Speaking of climaxes, that you had a before and after,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because if
Oh
you
yeah, that too. I forgot to
don't
bring that up.
don't mind sharing about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So prior to when we were in the program where Tiffany was a guest expert, and I have to say her name, Gabrielle Leonard is our dear sister who unexpectedly passed back in January of this year. She was running this program called Sovereignty. And so when Tiffany was doing her, guest expert presentation, I realized, I was like, I've never had an orgasm. At that time, I was 44. So I was like, I am 44 years old and I've never had an orgasm. And the only reason why I knew that I hadn't had an orgasm is because I was asking. I was asking about it. And they were like, if you're asking me, then you haven't had it. So I'm like, I feel deprived. This is not right. Like, help me out with this. So when we were given an assignment, and part of it included self-pleasure, and this was my first um, experience with sex toys. I never bought sex toys, never entertained it, because I had this block in my mind um, about self pleasure just in and of itself, mainly because of church. That was the main thing. It was mainly church. That it was like, that's evil. You don't do that. That's only reserved for marriage. And why would you need to do that? Because that's idolatry and all this type of indoctrination. And I was like, I can start to see the connection now through being able to know my body, be intimate with my body to the extent that I know how to get myself there. How can I expect for someone else to get me there? They just figure it out, and I don't even know. And so that in and of itself is empowering. And I don't know what the magic is behind it, but it's real and it works. And I know that sometimes, at least I'll speak for myself, there may be some people out there you're seeing Tiffany out here in these social media streets. She's a speaker, so you may see her at, a networking event speaking about this and how it really connects to your energy, into your abundance. And it's so true because I can literally track, like, when I self pleasured and when I made an offering, or if I was on a sales call, and when I can mark my and track my confidence, whether I closed the sale or not, increased engagement. Because even from that assignment within the program that we had, my engagement went up a lot.
A
And
lot.
it was from that. And so it really is, there's a science to it. I'm not going to say it's like hocus pocus, there's science to it, but I started to experience it and really start to come more and more integrated with my own power. I became one with my power and no longer saw it as something separate from myself. So yeah, orgasms, if you have not had one, get you one, and Tiffany can help you get there.
Yes, you mentioned the pleasure studio. That's coming up, so there it
Mm.
is. There is an opportunity for women to join. It starts in July again. So,
Okay.
thinking back to when you first had that consultation with me, what were some of your biggest fears or concerns or what of joining a program and working with me? Because I know a lot of people watch me for years and are like, "Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want people to know that I'm working
Mm-hmm.
with Tiffany." That's
Right. Yeah, because I often wonder how people feel about, I guess, outing themselves, working with you. I don't care. Like, I guess that's just, where I am with it. But in the beginning, I will say I was like, okay, will this work for me? Does this make sense for me? Like, how I'm not this way anymore. It still gets in the way from time to time, but I can tend to be very heady. So logical, trying to make sense of it all. Like, how does this really connect? And I will say what was like the turning point for me is that I knew that what I was doing wasn't working. It wasn't yielding me the results that I wanted. And, my career background before full time entrepreneurship as a coach, although I've been doing that for 7 years, I've been an engineer for almost 20 years. So that's my background. That is how I flow. That tends to be my default. And so I was just like, okay, yeah, I was afraid. Like, okay, if people know who Tiffany is, and I'm like posting that I'm learning this stuff, or I'm even just talking about what I'm doing, what are people going to think? And even for someone like me who tends to be bold by normal standards, I guess you could say, I still have certain fears of judgment. Like, okay, what are people going to say? What are they going to think? Are they going to think like I'm this sex crazed person? Tiffany has told me something that's turned me out, and I'm just out here, just crazy. But that really was my fear of caring about what other people were going to say, and was I going to be judged for it? And so again, my turning point was, okay, you want to explore this. You don't know how. You don't know what to do. You know this other stuff. You got it on lock. This right here, you don't. And I am an efficient person. Like, I'd rather someone teach me that knows what they're talking about. And the other thing, because I'm a heady person, you, even in your presentations, just about every time you present, you always back it up with science. It's not just something that, oh, women are saying this. No, it's actual scientific data that backs up a lot of, okay, what does it do for you to have an orgasm biologically? physiologically? How does it affect your mood? How does it affect your stress levels? How does it even affect pain? Physical pain, not just emotional pain. How does it treat that? And how does it translate into you making more money? That was the main thing for me, especially as an entrepreneur. I wanted to understand it because I felt a desire to explore myself in a deeper, more intimate, and just different way. And I knew that this was the way for me at that time.
Well, thank you for being bold and for doing this case study, because it is very difficult for me to get my clients to want to come on video and share this information, but it's so important. What you just shared is what I think so many women need to know, is that it's not just airy fairy. Yeah, it feels good. It really is life changing
Mm-hmm.
in every way.
Absolutely.
And the way that it
Absolutely.
changed, just to see, from you being kind of worried about what people were going to think, to seeing that you posted your boudoir photos
Oh
on
gosh.
Facebook, that we do a sexy photo shoot in Aruba,
Mhm.
and those were stunning. I
Thank
mean,
you.
just, you want to see a glow, just it gives me goosebumps. Just, they were so gorgeous. And so,
Yeah.
feeling about how you did about your body. I mean, you told me you hated your midsection when
Hmm.
you first started, and now you are posting it on Facebook. It was just, that's a huge journey. That's a huge.
Yes. Yes. And I think that, because I've had conversations, oh, so many conversations about those boudoir photos. And I didn't even show them some of the more racier
I
ones. Like
know those were
there's
just the mirror ones.
there were other ones, but I've had many conversations on and offline about those photos. And when I saw them, when I received them that day, my thoughts went back to that experience, that moment, being in that moment of them being captured, and what I was thinking and what I was feeling. I really, like I said, when I say it was the climax of this journey that I've been on so far, um, it really was, because in that photo shoot, during that experience, it wasn't about sex. I wasn't thinking about sex and all that jazz. I mean, okay, I know that there's some women that do them, that do boudoir photo shoots as a gift to their partners. Understandable, but that's not why I was doing it. I was doing it because I wanted to be able to look at my body and embrace myself in self reverence and see that, oh my gosh, like I really am beautiful, even with that stomach, because it wasn't like it was flat. And I remember choosing one of the photos to share where you could see my stomach, because for me, it was the confidence. I was so confident in that moment. I just felt it. It's the difference between believing that I was confident and actually embodying that. Like I felt it. It's different when you can feel it. I didn't need anybody to tell me that those photos were gorgeous. I knew they were gorgeous. I knew they were stunning. I thanked everyone, and I still thank everyone for their compliments, but that was those types of things that we do for ourselves. Like this whole case study that we're doing is about, this complex relationship that we have with pleasure and enjoyment. That's what it was for me. I was just like, this is what pleasure feels like, and not a instrument, a body part or finger, whatever was on me. It was like, I enjoy me. I enjoy beholding me. And a lot of the conversations that I had with people, mostly offline, because again, people are afraid to even comment, even though there were plenty of comments. But what they really want to say is around, oh my gosh, Now, I wish that I was confident like that. Like, you are so courageous. Like, I want to do one of those. Like, and I would have even men were like, I see this journey you're on, and whatever you're doing is working. And it wasn't that they were even approaching me like from what some may consider be a typical male response when you see photos like that. Some did, but the ones that did not, it was, you really inspire me to do things that I wouldn't normally do. That's what I want to do. I want to move in my life in that way. And it's so freeing and liberating to be able to do it. That's what it was for me. I'm always searching for ways to free myself and to liberate myself. And one of the things that really had me in a chokehold was my body image and how I saw myself, because it was affecting my money. It was affecting my energy. It was affecting even how I would show up in relationships, because I was just so self conscious about it. They weren't saying anything about it. I was. And so it really helped me to just, that whole level, the layers of self-acceptance run deep. And that photo shoot, man, I'm definitely going to do another one. I'm definitely going to do another one.
I love that you said it was for yourself. And just like self
Hmm.
pleasure is for you, it's learning about your body. And it's something that is that no one can take away from you, because and you're not reliant on anyone else. It's that true self-reverence is that you're reliant on yourself for your
Hmm.
own pleasure.
Hmm.
And I think that's so powerful.
Hmm. Thank
And
you.
that you got to get out of your head and into your body,
Hmm.
and that just radiates through your whole essence.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think the thing with photos, you can't fake what you're actually feeling. What you feel or is going to show up in a photo or a video. And looking through those photos, I could see me. Like, I could see me in that moment. I could see me through the vulnerability. I could see me through don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I didn't have any type of fear or anxiety going into it, because, yes, it was a safe environment and I felt very comfortable, but these are people I don't know. They're about to see my
Right?
body in a way that I don't really show people, this like this, but and getting the direction. I mean, even the whole process, like taking taking pleasure in being told what to do.
Ooh,
Something you get it. See, you
I
got it as
do.
soon as right. I said it right. Taking pleasure of even being told what to do, because many times women like us and women that you serve and that you're called to, we tend to be the ones that are giving the direction. We're in leadership position. And so that's our default. We think, oh, well, that's just the position I've been called into life. And yet we don't really experience the pleasure of releasing and just receiving the instructions and obeying. There's pleasure in that. There's pleasure because it gets you out of your head. I didn't have to think. I could just be in the moment. I could just really, when people say fall into your body, get into your body, for a long time I didn't understand what that meant. What do you mean? Like, I'm here, get into my body? Like, what are you talking about? That's what we're talking about. That's true sensuality, when you can hear every sound, you can feel every feel, you can see, what's not being shown, you can hear what's not being said. That's being in your sensuality. And that's what it was. I mean, it was a multi-layered experience of pleasure. And it wasn't just about, oh, I'm taking these sexy photos. It's so much deeper than that. And I really wanted to not only portray that in the photos, which they beautifully captured in Aruba. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Shout out to the photographer. I think his name is Ronnie. Is his name Ron?
Renee, yeah.
Renee.
Yes.
And it's like I want for women to understand that is part of Tiffany's work. It all has purpose. Now it sounds great. We're going to Aruba and we're gonna have, boudoir photo shoot. I mean, that right there is good in and of itself. However, everything is intentional, everything has purpose, everything is part of the process that she walks you through to get you to your climax, to get you to your place of pleasure. And so I think that because we've just been so overly sexualized as human beings, particularly in the United States,
And as
particularly
women,
here.
especially.
Yes, especially as women. Like I said, I did have some men that are just like, ugh, when they saw the pictures, like, ooh. And it's like, I expect it. But even doing that, it was even helping me because as a woman, let's take something is something as beautiful and as nurturing as breastfeeding. Breastfeeding in public. For a long time, I didn't like to see women do that. Nothing sexual like it about it, but
Right.
because of this constant indoctrination and conditioning that, our bodies are for other people's men pleasure, and that's it. That's it. That's all my body is for. You have to, even as a woman, start to deprogram and unlearn some things. Now it doesn't bother me at all because I'm like, oh, she's feeding her child. That's what she's doing. She's feeding her child. However, you have to be mindful of those things. And so as we were going and doing the work, that was another thing that came up for me that, yes, I love feeling sexy. Yes, I know how to be sensual and sexy, but my body is not just that. It's not just that. So it's this vessel that I carry, a powerful message that I carry, a powerful spirit within. It's so much more than just sex, and I just wish that more people would get beyond that.
You mentioned sensations and all the, sounds and sights and everything. Tell me about how you experience the blindfolded dinner, because we go into a
Ah,
lot of sensations
oh my
in
gosh.
Aruba, whether it's sitting on the sand or being in a photo shoot or touching,
Yes.
but we do a blindfolded dinner, which I think
Hmm.
you loved.
Yes, I love the blindfolded dinner. I hope you're gonna do some like experiences in America because I just think that they're, oh gosh. So anyway, without me telling everything, because you just need to go and experience it to really get it. But it, beautiful table setting. We had our own chef. We had a private chef the whole time, so he the whole time we were there, like the whole 7 days. But he was there preparing each course, because how many was it? It was like 5 or 7
I think 7. We
courses.
did
It was like
7.
7 courses. And this was also my first time actually sitting down and experiencing the wine pairings with each course. But being blindfolded, we've heard this before, that people that either were born or had an accident in which they became blind, or maybe born or had an accident in which they became deaf, if they had any of their senses that was no longer there or working, um, that the other senses would then become amplified, because it's almost like a compensation type thing. And so there was music playing. I remember there was music playing. So we had that. And being blindfolded, you had to learn your way around getting certain things, your different wine glasses and pairings, and really just taking the time to savor, even in a pleasurable moment. That was different. I think that is why I really got into it, because even before then, even when I would sometimes engage in self pleasure, it would be just to get to the climax, just to get to the orgasm. I wasn't really savoring it in the sounds and the just even sensations of like maybe a feather, on my body or something like that. And so that particular experience really got me to slow down and to savor in each moment, in each pairing. Even when the sommelier, and he was like our guide, so to speak, through the dinner. He's easy on the eyes too, but he was our guide through the dinner. um he would, check in with us. And I don't, because that was, I usually don't drink that much wine. So that did assist. And it wasn't like they filled our cups up, but doing that, really tasting the differences before you put the food in your mouth, how the wine tastes, after you put the food in your mouth, after you to eat it, how the wine tastes. I just let myself go, because I felt like removing my sight helped me to not really care about how I looked. It's funny.
Mm.
I didn't care about how I looked. I didn't care about how I came across. I had to take away my own sight and really dig into my other senses. And once I did that, I was gone. I was singing. I was swaying back and forth. I was dancing in my seat, because I just surrendered to it. I just allowed myself to really take pleasure in the entire experience. And it was wonderful. The food was great. The wine was great. Just everything.
I'm glad you enjoyed it so much. I love watching you all. I wore my blindfold for most of it, but I did take it off for part of it to watch all of you just savor the food and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the experience. It was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was. I enjoyed it.
You mentioned that you've been in the pleasure studio. Tell me a little bit about what your experience was in that course.
Yeah, in the pleasure studio, I we got to do a lot. The homework, you will have homework. And a good part of the homework is activity. And it was, activities that again pushed up against the boundaries for me of comfort. Because there were certain things that again, I'm just like, having, thank goodness that I was still in private coaching with you, that I would have been resistant
Mm,
towards, because of my own blocks, especially if you were, and I say this as somebody that if you were raised in a very religious household. I was not raised in a very religious household, but I got involved in church in my early mid 20s. And I was like in that world for 15 years, like hardcore. So I know, I know what it is. And stuff would still come up. And going through the studio, you get a lot of great goodies. Let me tell you that you get some interesting goodies that are going to be used during the time of the studio. But again, another thing that I appreciate intellect, and so there was a lot of information. I didn't know about all the different orgasmic spots. I thought that there was just one. I thought that there was just one. And so we got introduced to that type of stuff. And an assignment that we had, like you would think that it wouldn't be challenging to engage in self pleasure for a week straight. Oh my God. I found it challenging because it was a call for me to prioritize myself on that level for a week, a consistent week. And really, the things that just would come up, it seems like simple to dos, but again, they have intention, they have purpose. And so I could, they would always call for, the resistance would come up, and that would be the next thing that I would, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is something that I didn't even think was there. Like, why am I resistant? And being in community with other women who were willing to really share, they were willing to really share some things where I was like, okay. Those who may have been in marriages or partnerships for a long time, those who were in newer type relationships. I, at the time, was single. So, just different. It wasn't like there's just one type of woman in there. And it was a very safe place where you could really get down to the nitty gritty of your experiences on a hormone, from hormones, to partner, experiences and questions that you may have had, that you may have felt silly asking before. Like, you do it all there. And I think that it's a great place to start, especially if you're wanting to really strip that stigma down and actually learn and understand what is happening with your body, how to become more in tune with your body, how to recognize, even if you're dealing with some type of trauma in your body, and where it's settling in your body, those types of things. It's a great place to start. It's a great place to start. So I had a great time.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing up the variety of women, because both
Mm-hmm.
in the pleasure studio and in Aruba, we had women from their
Mm-hmm.
40s to their 70s,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, in both situations. We
Yep.
had up to 77, I think, was the oldest that we had in Aruba,
Mm-hmm.
in the mid 70s, early to mid 70s in the studio too.
Mm-hmm.
And you were
Mm-hmm.
one of the youngest women in the
Yeah.
group.
Yeah. If
Um,
not the youngest, I might have been
yeah,
the youngest.
I
Yeah.
for
And I
sure.
think that that speaks to, this is not going to go away, whatever you're dealing with the older you get. Like, that whole story we've been told, like, you're not going to care about sex the older you get. Yes, you will.
And you should. It's so
Yes,
good.
yeah, you should, right? But you will. Like, that stuff, as we are sexual beings, we are sensual beings, and it's still, no matter what stage of life that you're in, you deserve to experience true pleasure, and understand how to provide that for yourself, and school your partner on how to provide that as well. So, yeah, I thought that that was very refreshing and really encouraging, because I don't want to think that I'm going to get older and I'm just going to go dead down there. No. So it was great to see, like, oh, no, this still matters. Even in your 70s,
Yes.
it still matters.
I was reading an article yesterday, and I'll post it on my Facebook for everyone to see. But it's a scientific study about how more sex as you age increases life expectancy.
Oh yeah, so I need to. So I want to live long. I want to live long.
And so, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I hope that it helps people
Mm,
really see what goes on behind the scenes, kind of in the experiences that I provide. And it's been such a joy to see you grow and see you come into your own skin and love yourself, and so that you can help other people, because
mhm.
that's, I know, a big part of your life, and
Yep.
being able to really help women love themselves and be true to themselves.
Mhm.
How can people connect with you?
Well, thank you, and you're most welcome. Thank you. Everyone can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Lorea Sample. It's the same across both platforms. I'm active on both. And I also have a website, loreasample.com, but I'm really active on social media. So you can connect with me there. Let me know that you saw this interview.
And you can go back, scroll back and see those boudoir photos.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
they are so sexy. Thank you, Lorea. What do you have coming up that you'd like to share? I know you have something special coming up in your world too.
Yes. In mid to late June, I am running my second cycle of the Self Reverent Sacred Circle. It's a 10-day experience in which we really begin to explore ourselves as sacred beings and how that can play positively into your relationships, into your career, and into your money. And of course, pleasure is involved as well. But we all do that again under the foundation of self-reverence. And I would love to see you there. For those who are interested, I will put, if Tiffany doesn't mind, I will
Absolutely.
put the link to register in the comments. I'm not on Facebook right now, but I'll go back to this video and put the link there. Or you can just send me a message and I will send you the link to apply. Send me the message, sacred.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else you want to share with our viewers today about your experience through pleasure? And you've said so much about religion and the shame around that. Thank you so much,
Mm-hmm.
because I know
Yeah.
that's a big societal shame that we all have, many of us have dealt with for thousands of
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say that if anyone that is watching this, if you know of anyone that it may not be you that's experiencing this, forward it, share it. Sharing is caring to someone who you know is dealing with any shame, any guilty feelings of just wanting to prioritize themselves and just wanting to feel good. That sounds very simple, but it's very profound and makes a great impact in your life to just go throughout your days feeling good about who you be, feeling good about how you show up in the world and your authenticity. I want to encourage you to connect with Tiffany and sign up for, right now it's the studio, but any program that she may have that is going to help assist you, because looking back on it, I'm so glad that I did it. I never saw this for myself. I never saw myself saying, I'm gonna hire a pleasure coach. That was never anything that ran across my mind. But I knew that I wanted to experience myself in my own power. I wanted to increase my own bodily wisdom. I wanted to be the one that really had a healthy relationship with her body. And I look in the mirror now. Are things perfect? No. I would love to tell you that I have a six pack, but that's not the end goal. That really wasn't the goal. The goal was to be able to look at myself in the mirror naked, no matter what, and love what I saw and embrace what I saw. And that I do. I do that to this day. I have a full length mirror, and every day my work is to look at myself in all my natural beauty and say, I love that. You, girl, you look good. And I say it, and it's not just a practice. It actually is something that I believe and I embody. So if that is something that you want to experience for yourself and to really move in this world in the confidence and courage that you envision yourself moving in, then I want to encourage you to join the studio or any of Tiffany's programs that fully resonate with you.
Oh, thank you. And
You're welcome.
I want to say, I wouldn't have ever said that you were someone who lacked confidence when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you just found a confidence you didn't even know you needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 That's the tricky thing. I knew that I was lacking confidence. And that was the issue. That's what was coming across in my energy. I knew that I was lacking it. And that was enough. The world didn't need to know. I knew.
Well, now the world knows how confident you are, and they get to see it radiating throughout your body and your soul and your teaching. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for
Thank
being here
you.
today.
You're welcome.
And everybody connect with Lorea. She's awesome. I know her programs are on fire. So,
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
and we'll put all the links below so that you have them, and reach out if you have any questions. Registration is open for the studio right now. And I have some special gifts that you can reach out and ask me about. So,
Bye,
thank you.
everybody.